All right, guys, welcome back into another episode of To The Show Baseball Podcast presented by ProspectsLive.com. I'm your host, Andrew Parker, and today's episode, I got Nolan Perry on from the Blue Jays org. Nolan's one of the hottest pitchers right now in minor league baseball. He's coming off another fantastic outing on Wednesday, of another 10 strikeout outing. He just got promoted up to Vancouver a couple weeks back, and he is just rolling right now, coming off of a Tommy John surgery and a lost season in 2025, but he has picked right back up, and he is among the top 20 prospects in their system. So I do talk about obviously getting back on the field, just kind of get rolling again, see how he's doing and more. But before I shoot to the interview, if you're watching me on YouTube right now, listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever it is that you're getting this, just like and subscribe if you can. It helps me a lot. I appreciate anything. The YouTube channel, I'm making a big push for 600 subscribers. It's a newer channel. I'm trying my best to grow it, and any help is appreciated. But without further ado, let me shoot you on to the interview with Nolan Perry. All right, Nolan, you are off to a very good start to your 2026 season. I know you were promoted, a few weeks back, but I do want to kind of dive in there. It's like you just had another good start here the other day, and I got to ask, like, how are things going for you to start your season?
It's going pretty good. My confidence is pretty high right now. I know I need to keep it like on a level play, but like I really try to not think about like the good things or the bad things. I try to just go out there and pretty much just pitch and see whatever happens, happens. Just get myself to a spot and have a pretty much a game plan out there, and then whatever happens, happens. But yeah.
So after having an injury like having TJ and coming back, does it make you appreciate baseball a little more? Just like obviously missing the time that you did and then coming back this year, like do you have like a new sense of like appreciation?
Yeah, definitely. Especially missing a whole year. It was definitely tough. Especially coming out of high school, I really never had that much downtime of not playing baseball. So it's definitely tough. But now that I'm back, I'm definitely a lot more appreciative of it. And I don't know, shoot, I'm just very happy to be back and playing. So yeah.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Like, I feel like a lot of people out there probably, obviously, they see you're missing time and everything, but just the mental toll that probably has as well on somebody of,
Yeah.
you just want to be out there on the mound with all your buddies, like out there pitching and playing
Mm,
and all that. And it's like, you just can't. Right. And I guess that's just something that, I think the mental aspect's a little under talked about in terms of like you can't physically do your job and you're just kind of sitting down at the complex and just rehabbing for over a
right.
year. It's got
Yeah.
to be hard.
Yeah. For me it was a lot easier because my rehab ended in the off season. So I got to go home and spend some time with family, friends, and all that. So and then I got to come back and have like pretty much a normal spring training. So that
Oh,
definitely
okay.
helped a lot. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's I'm sure that was probably needed after after the road to recovery, man. I'm sure
Oh
that
yeah,
wasn't
for
easy.
sure.
But so obviously you get off to the start you did, and you had just kind of talked about obviously you're feeling good, confidence is high. But how important was that for you to come back this season after missing time and having the start that you had?
It was definitely it was very important, because I mean you never know what will happen after surgery. You don't know if your stuff will be the same, if shoot, just anything. But it was definitely good for me to help me build my confidence in my stuff and just be able to attack the zone and really just like have like super confident in my stuff. So it's definitely good to have that.
What did you, I guess a better way. I mean, obviously, I see like I don't know if it's a myth or if it's like proven that there is that little like velo uptick, like post TJ, and I don't know if they've actually proven if that's like a fact or not, but I feel like you've kind of experienced a little bit of an uptick yourself, down in spring training and carried into the season. And
Mhm.
what have you learned about yourself, I guess, like since coming back? Like, is there anything different than you were before the injury?
Yeah, I'd say my mechanics are a lot more cleaner. Plus, I'd say definitely just all the like the strengthening in the shoulder, the elbow, and then just being in the weight room pretty much every day during rehab definitely helps. And then just your arms, you pretty much have a new elbow, so it definitely helps that a lot. And yeah, I would say just getting in the weight room and strengthening all the ligaments and stuff. definitely helps improve the velo.
Were you a little nervous the first time you let it fly with the new elbow?
A little bit, not too bad, but they did a good job of slowly building me up to it, so I wasn't too nervous on doing that.
Yeah, those guys know what they're doing down at
Yeah, for sure.
the rehab pitching coordinators. I'm sure are doing.
Oh
Obviously,
yeah, they're
they
great.
did a fantastic job, but um, is something I don't know if you're a big like stats guy. If you like pay attention to like all the back of the baseball card numbers and everything, but the batters are hitting their slash line against you this year is 124, 209, 248. You got a 45% K rate. I mean, all of the numbers look absolutely fantastic. Like, do you like put any like do you put any weight into those? Like, are you looking at stats from start to start? Like, how do you approach that?
Not really. I don't really look at stats too much. I try to just focus on me playing and trying to focus on me doing my job and just attacking the zone, trying to get quick outs and that stuff pretty much will come with it. If you locate your stuff where it's supposed to be, and that stuff will follow. So yeah.
So after having like your previous two starts, they were actually like pretty identical. I guess like stat lines. You had a couple more walks 2 outings ago, a
Mhm.
couple more hits, but you strike out 10 batters back to back outings. I guess when you're going about an outing like that, you struck out 10 over 5 innings. Like that's kind of like crazy, but when do you kind of like feel like you settle in each outing? Like, is it like, you go through the first and second, you're like, all right, today's gonna be a pretty good day. Like, how does that go for yourself when you're on the mound?
Really, I would say it starts in my catch play and just trying to focus on really just having my mechanics. But I'd say during the game, I'd say the first inning sometimes is a little rocky for me, trying to get in the zone. But usually around the second inning, second and third inning, I start to really feel myself and just get in the flow. But yeah, I'd say the second and third inning.
Okay. Yeah, I'm always curious because like sometimes when you hear those guys like that are throwing no hitters or whatever they're doing, they're like, when did you kind of realize that you had your stuff today? And it's like maybe like the fourth or fifth inning. But I was curious with yourself just because you're not you haven't gone past the fifth in the last 2 outings. So I'm like, I wonder
Right.
when you kind of like felt like that. So I feel like it varies with different guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Something else too, obviously you were one of the guys that got promoted pretty early on in the season. Getting promoted that early after just a few outings is obviously you were doing something well. So I do want to ask, obviously going from to a different level and having that. I know it's a very small sample size in the month of May, but have you like noticed any differences between the levels? Was that noticeable from day one?
Yeah, a little bit. I feel like here they have a better plan, especially when you get to two strikes. They're not really chasing too much out of the zone. So you have to make your stuff look like it's going to be a fastball. And then if you miss a couple pitches, you got to go pretty much back in the zone or they're not going to swing at anything and it'll just be a walk. So yeah, I'd say that's the biggest difference was they have a kind of a better plan than Dunedin.
Is that like something that you kind of like come up to have your first outing and be like, okay, like I got to adjust to this? Like, was it an adjustment period for yourself, or was it one of those like, it's just baseball, you can kind of do it? Like, how did you kind of attack that?
Yeah, it was a little bit of adjustment. I'd say my first outing in Eugene, the first inning, it was a little rough. I was kind of all over the place a little bit, and then after me and the catcher Sharp talked, and then we just said that was just get in the zone and see what happens, and it definitely worked out. So yeah,
So you joined a team that's pretty got a lot of good talent going on right now.
uh,
How is that like just being around like I mean for example I've actually had on a couple of guys that were players of the week on that squad, Tucker Toman
mhm.
and Carter Cunningham, just in the last like month or two. I know those guys are both hitters, but being around like a bunch of good talented guys like that, like how much does that mean to a guy like yourself? Do you get to pitch in front of them and maybe follow up a starter or two that are having good seasons?
Yeah, it definitely means a lot. Having shoot just following up Johnny King the other day
Yeah,
after
another
dude,
good
he's
one.
having a great year. There was like a point something ERA, but yeah,
Yeah.
trying to follow that up is pretty tough. So I mean, but it's fun to do that. It's like a competitive side to it. But yeah, I'd say just the
Is
competitiveness
it
to
I was gonna ask, like with a guy like Johnny, you see what he does from start to start. Does that kind of like up the intensity where it's almost like not putting pressure on yourself, but just being
Mm,
like, I gotta try to match this the best I can, so I'm not like the odd man out of the rotation. Like, is there ever a
right.
feeling like that?
I wouldn't say trying to match it, but there's always definitely a little bit of competitiveness in everybody. You always try to not, I would say one up the other person, but like just try to like do like better or something. I don't know how to
Yeah.
put that, but yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I was curious because obviously, you got some good hitters going on that team. Obviously, Johnny is doing his thing. He's been, I feel like, electric since he joined pro ball. So,
yeah,
yeah, definitely a good squad there. You got a lot more guys waiting up for you in New Hampshire as well. Once you guys all get up to Double A, so there's talent at every level right now in the Blue Jay system.
yeah.
It's kind of crazy to see. Um, I did want to ask as well. You said you had a pretty healthy spring training, I guess, with your rehab ending before you got there. What did you use your spring training for? I mean, it was your first spring training back, I think, in 2 years since the injury, saying you were hurt the last one. So, how did you spend it? Like, what did you use your spring training for this year?
Yeah, for me, it was trying to get to see if I still had that competitiveness after not playing for a while. So just trying to get that out there and then definitely just find the zone and just see if my stuff plays still to all these hitters. And, that was probably the biggest thing was just the competitiveness of it and seeing if I still had my stuff and seeing how it would play against hitters. Yeah.
Are you? I gotta ask too. Are you a rankings guy? Like, do you look at any of that stuff, or are you just like don't even bother me with it?
Not really, but my dad will send it to me every once in a while and be like, hey, check this out.
Okay. So I guess, obviously I'm sure you're aware of like where, if your family members, friends, whoever, like let you know, like, that you are among like, top 30 prospects, whatever it is. Like, so it doesn't do anything for you? Like it doesn't like, hey, I want to be even higher on the list. Like, all these national publications have you ranked, and does that do anything for you?
Not really, but everybody obviously wants to be like a top prospect, to work their way up. But I wouldn't say that's really what I'm shooting for. I'm really shooting to make make a debut. That's really the ultimate plan. And yeah, I mean that stuff. If you continue to do good, that stuff will come with it as you work along. But pretty much just focus on baseball, especially during the season, a long season. It's definitely a mental game. So I try to pretty much just focus when I'm at the field, just baseball. When I'm here, just get my mind off it, watch YouTube or something. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, I'm done with the boring questions. I have a few left that are not boring and about baseball here. But you're a New Mexico guy, and I know there's plenty of talent coming out of New Mexico. But
Yeah.
obviously, there's a very popular name, Alex Bregman, that is from New Mexico, and that's one of the main ones that I know. But
Okay.
for yourself, like, growing up in New Mexico, playing down there, like, what was the baseball scene like? I'm very curious, like, what, maybe how far you had to travel and all that. Like, what was it like growing up?
Yeah, in high school, our town is pretty big in baseball. We've had a lot of guys that have came out of there. Trevor Rogers plays for the Baltimore. Shane Andrews, Cody Ross, who's played for the Red Sox and the Giants. Um, and then yeah, there's a lot more people, but it's a big town for. I mean, it's not a big town, but it's a big town for like baseball, and they definitely just love their baseball around there. But for travel baseball, I actually played for ABA. I'm pretty sure. I think Bregman played for them as well. But yeah, I used to play for ABA, and we would travel to some tournaments in Arizona, Texas tournaments, and then I also played with some the Dallas Sticks, and then we traveled to Jupiter to play in that big tournament there, just to get my name out there and just do tournaments pretty far away, just to see. But yeah.
Yeah, I always hear those stories from guys that, maybe grew up in states that aren't as, they're not Florida or
Mhm.
Texas or, where a lot of scouts are, and like where a large amount of talents go. Did you find it difficult, I guess, just I know you just listed off a ton of names from, the area, but was it ever difficult, like just trying to get in front of like, the right people just to see you play, hear your name, things like that? Like, did you ever experience that?
I'd say early on in my career, like say to my sophomore year, it was pretty difficult, because I didn't really do too much travel ball or anything. But once my junior year hit, I was started to do some like tournaments in Arizona, and then I'd start to get like posted on Twitter, and then I'd have like JUCOs and some NAIAs and stuff. Schools reach out to me, and then once that stuff starts happening, then the word gets around, and then you'll be like, "Hey, look at this guy," and then you just keep going, and then it's pretty much just happens, I'd say. But if you're good enough, I think people will find you
Oh
anywhere
yeah.
you are. Yeah.
Oh, couldn't agree more. Especially like, with the internet being a thing, it's like
Right.
you can always find, like, maybe like 30 years ago might have been harder just without
Yeah,
the
for sure.
internet. Like, you can't see video on this guy up in North Dakota, and maybe there's like who knows, but yeah, I kind of agree with you. I feel like these days, the internet days, Twitter days, stuff like that, you got video on everybody.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to shift here. With you like being out last year, you had a little bit of more downtime, I guess. Obviously when you're not rehabbing and things. Did you pick up any new hobbies? Like, what are you doing in your free time these days?
Me, I usually like to golf, but in rehab I couldn't really golf. But
Yeah.
other than that, I like to play video games. I'm a big Rocket League guy,
Ooh, okay.
MLB The Show guy, and yeah, usually just play some Rocket League with some buddies back home, and then MLB The Show with some people here.
Okay. Do you got a real 99?
I do, yeah.
Is it good or bad? Did they do you dirty, or are you happy with it?
It's actually on my bench, so I don't really use it. So
Okay. So I guess it's not the best, but
no,
that
yeah,
sucks, man.
yeah,
I feel like they did some guys a little dirty in minor league baseball, but some guys are like, hey, they gave me some extra velo.
yeah.
But okay, that's good to know. But yeah, I don't know if you have heard this, but the Red Sox minor leaguers do a Rocket League tournament every spring down in
Oh,
Fort
really?
Myers. You got to get that started in Dunedin. It's got to be a
Oh,
thing.
yeah. That would be sweet. That would be sweet.
Yeah, I don't know what the winner got last year or this past year. I do know who won, but I don't know what they were playing for. But it was massive. They had like 18, 19 guys in it. So
Oh, wow.
um, yeah, it was good. It was cool. I was witness to it. It was pretty exciting. But yeah, so golfing now that you're healthy, or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
I golfed a lot this past off season, so that was fun. I got to play down in Arizona a couple times. Back in spring training, I played at Copperhead, so that was pretty
Ooh,
cool.
that's a good one.
And then I haven't done too much golfing since I got up here. It's kind of tough. That your off day here is pretty much just travel. So
Yeah.
so not too much golf around here.
Have you thought about, like, because speaking of places to golf, it had me thinking. It's like, you're now like in the Blue Jays have a very fascinating affiliate
Mm,
lineup where you go from Dunedin, Florida, which I'm sure has some great courses, and then you're going all the way to the Pacific Northwest, and then you got to go all the way across to New Hampshire, which doesn't really have too many good golf courses. I would know. I'm a Granite Stater, but um, it's interesting, that trek. Like, do you guys ever talk about that? Like, just having to go from like coast to coast just to get promoted?
Not really. I mean, it definitely is weird that not weird, but like it's definitely
It is
different that
weird.
you have to travel all around the world, just all around the country to move up. But I wouldn't say too much talking about that.
Okay. I was always curious, like, because you obviously went from Florida up to
Mm,
Vancouver this year, and then you'd have to, if you go up to Double A this year, you'd be going from Florida, Vancouver to New Hampshire. It's a
yeah,
lot of air miles, man.
yeah. I'd say the
It's
biggest thing to talk about is probably the just the time change and getting used to that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
probably got some jet lag going on. That's for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
All right, I have two questions left, and I will let you slide here. Um, I need to know on this is a question regarding like back home for you. Obviously, you are playing, every affiliate for the Blue Jays is very far away from where you call home. Let's just say a lot of miles in between. So I need like one or two things that you miss the most about like back home in New Mexico that you can't get in like Vancouver, Florida, any of it. And you can't say your family or friends because that would be cheating.
All right. There's a restaurant back home. It's called Trinity. It's kind of like a little steak place, but like it's kind of like a little hometown it's pretty much our nicest place in New Mexico. I mean, in Carlsbad. No, it's a small town, but that's a good place. And then probably just our river back home and just being able to fish there, do some bass fishing there. I know there's bass fishing here and stuff, but like that's
It's not
probably
the
like a
same as
go-to for
home.
me. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
always different.
Yeah.
All the spots back home, and
Yeah.
but yeah.
Okay. I don't hate that answer. Usually I get like some fast food chains or something. Like I usually get that. Like
Mm.
I think Carter Cunningham was giving me like he missed Canes or something. And I'm like, all right, I'll take it. I'll take it. But no, I appreciate those answers. Those are both great. All right. So my last question here. It's probably my toughest question I've asked this whole time, but I know I already asked you about like you're not a huge like looking in the stats or anything, but I want to know just for yourself. Let's just say by the end of the season, how would you characterize your 2026 season to be a success? Like what kind of things would you want to have accomplished by the end of the playing year that you would say, hey, I had a really successful year. Like how I guess what kind of things would you want to do this year to say that?
For me, I'll definitely say just getting my innings in and getting the most amount of innings I can. I'd say 100 innings would probably be a good look for me. Especially since haven't got close to that in the past years that I have been in pro baseball. And definitely just staying healthy and being able to have a pretty much a whole full season for the first time would be the biggest thing for me. And definitely cutting down the walks would be great.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think you nailed it because if Hayden was on here right now, like he told me before the year, like he only sets one goal every year, and it's an innings pitch goal. That's literally it.
Mhm.
Because he said if I hit my innings pitch goal, that means I was healthy all year and I was available for the team when they needed me. Like
Right.
that's his only goal. He doesn't care about like all the ER, like none of that jazz. Like he's just like if I hit my innings
Right.
pitch, that means I was healthy and I was there. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's a great goal. But Nolan, I appreciate all the time. Obviously, I'm wishing you the best of luck going forward here in the 2026 season. But thank you again for doing this.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.